right. I will say, in doing these mock drafts, much cleaner format than what me and Braden were doing last year. Braden, you have the floor. Here's mock draft 1.0.
Yeah, these I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what they looked like last year,
I'll
but
have to pull up a picture.
I remember these being
they were bad. Here,
this is a big upgrade.
All right, you talk about that. I'll pull this up.
All right. A lot of these picks are obviously going to change as we get closer to draft day. This is kind of just what I came up with on the fly for a 1.0. Obviously, like combine, pro days, all that stuff, whatever comes out from the scouting report will end up raising or lowering a lot of these guys' draft stocks. One draft stock that will not be changing until April is Fernando Mendoza will be going to the Raiders, and there is nothing that will happen to change that. If you have been living under a rock for the last 6 months and your only form of entertainment is the Between the Ashes podcast, first of all, you made a good decision. And second of all, Fernando Mendoza is like really good. Even if you have been living under a rock, you probably are aware that Indiana football is not very good. But Kurt Cignetti and Fernando Mendoza, more so Cignetti because they were good last year with Curtis Rourke, but Mendoza in Indiana has basically changed the game. And Brady wants to do whatever he can to change the game for the Raiders, him and Clint Kubiak. So we'll see how that goes.
And he's like the nicest guy alive.
He's just like maybe not the nicest way to put it, but he's kind of just a white business guy. That's just what he is.
Finance, bro.
Yeah.
He updates his LinkedIn.
Bad respect, dude. I always forget to do that.
This dude updates LinkedIn better than I do.
Yeah.
He will be a good quarterback in the NFL. Unless the Raiders trade this pick, he will be playing for the silver and black next season. Really, this is where the draft starts at number 2. I think the Jets can go a lot of ways, but I have them going Carnell Tate right now out of Ohio State. Ohio State receiver in general is not a bad idea. But until Jeremiah Smith is eligible to be drafted next year, Carnell Tate it's him, Mekhi Lemon out of USC, and Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State, who are the 3 main receivers who I think are surefire first-round picks. The only one I'm maybe questionable about, and you won't see him in this top 10, is Jordan Tyson has a lot of like injury concerns. Basically has not played a fully healthy season like since middle school. So it will be interesting to see how that ends up developing as the combine gets closer, see if all those injury things clear up. But right now, the Jets have like Garrett Wilson, A.D. Mitchell also had a pretty good, strong second half of the year. But their third receiver right now is like, off the top of my head, Isaiah Williams, I think is his name or something. I don't know who that is. And you don't either. Let's be real. Carnell Tate automatically would come in and be whatever this passing offense needs other than, the quarterback, which obviously they need to figure that out. But if they trade for Kyler Murray, this offense could be kind of fun to watch next year. At number 3, I have Francis Maui-Noah out of Miami. Whether he ends up playing guard or tackle in the NFL, either way, I think he's going to be a very solid lineman at the next level. And Brock, you can confirm, you have Paris Johnson, but really outside of him, there's not a whole lot going on that offensive line. Maui-Noah would be a day one big impact player on this line.
Yep.
Just they really need anything they can get over in Arizona other than a receiver, I think. Yep. You have Marv and you have Michael Wilson if you can keep him around. And a tight end. You don't really need pass catchers. You need literally any other position. And Maui-Noah is a good start to that.
They need pass protectors.
Yes.
And
at number 4, I have
sorry.
Excuse me, voice is going a little bit right now. But number 4, I have Ruben Bain out of Miami. Once again, unless you are the guy living under a rock watching the playoffs, Ruben Bain is like really good at football, kind of just bullied people, looked like a man amongst boys on that playoff stretch. But unfortunately, as Dawson is showing for the audio listeners out there, kind of suffers from the Will Campbell syndrome, aka alligator arms. There is no starter in the NFL on the edge with shorter arms than Ruben Bain has. So there's a lot of questions based on, like, will he play edge? Will he end up going to more like a 5-tech, 3-tech inside guy? I think either way, I think the Titans could find a spot for him. And with new head coach Robert Saleh, I think he could make Ruben Bain into an absolute animal. And Devondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons could do well training him to even make him even better than he already is. At number 5, I forgot that I put that there. I don't actually like that pick now that I look at it.
1.5 mock draft.
1.5.
Let me make sure that that's what you sent me, but I think that is.
No, that probably is.
Yeah,
I think I think I accidentally
brain fart.
subconsciously put Sonny Styles twice because I definitely wanted Sonny Styles to New York.
All right, we'll flip these when we'll post this.
You know what? Yeah, just flip it. Put Arvell Reese at 7 and Sonny Styles at 5 if these get posted somewhere else.
Yeah.
Number 5, I will have Sonny Styles going to the Giants. Yeah, if you are unfamiliar with Sonny Styles' play, which I think I'm just going to stop saying that because at this point, this is a 1.0. This is your introduction to the players if you haven't seen them before. Sonny Styles is a guy who was recruited as a safety and then kind of just kept growing. He's like 6'4", 245. Just doesn't miss tackles. I think he missed one tackle like the entire season. And it was immediately after chucking a 300-pound offensive lineman to the dirt. Just an absolute freak of nature. And the Giants really have nobody like actual off-ball linebacker other than like Micah McFadden is decent and Bobby Okereke like used to be good. But they obviously have guys at edge rusher, but they need a guy who is an actual like off-ball linebacker, which Arvell Reese can do that. But I think Arvell Reese at the NFL level might end up being more of like a Micah Parsons off the ball, on the ball type of guy. Whereas Sonny Styles is more of a true like off-ball thumper linebacker. And I like that fit for the New York defense. At number 6, man, my voice is really starting to go. I might just speed through these last 5 so I can keep any resemblance to my voice here. Number 6, I had Mekhi Lemon to the Browns. Like I said, Mekhi Lemon is in that upper tier of receivers. Not the biggest guy, not the fastest guy, but he plays. He plays like he's about 3 inches taller than he actually is. Just an absolute demon. And the Browns really have nobody to do that right now. Jerry Jeudy is not very good. They need whatever they can get to help that receiving room as much as possible. At number 7, I will have Arvell Reese to the Commanders. I do like the fit of Sonny Styles to the Commanders. That's why I had that twice, I guess. But since that's not an option, Arvell Reese, like I said, kind of a betweener guy between off-ball linebacker / on the edge. I think either way, I don't know if he's really much of a Dan Quinn edge rusher, but can make plays off the ball, can edge rush and get you 8 sacks as well. Just a guy who's really good. Kind of in the same mold, but not quite. David Bailey out of Texas Tech will be going to the Saints in this fit. Maybe not a pick for right now. The Saints have Kyle Granderson under contract. I'm not sure about the Chase Young situation, but if they keep him around, they have depth off the edge. But I think long-term, they need a guy who's not like 30 years old off the edge. And David Bailey is not really a 3-down guy, but more of like a pass rusher. And so even like tomorrow, he could come in and like let Carl Granderson and like the bigger guys play your first 2 downs, and then on 3rd down, just have David Bailey scream at the quarterback, and he will do a good job of that. At number 9, we have the Chiefs finally getting a running back or something on offense. You're going to probably get tired of this one eventually. It is Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs. They need something at running back. Isaiah Pacheco is not it. Rashard Smith is solid when he plays, but he's not exactly a bell cow back. They really just needed to get Breece Hall, but they didn't. So this is the next best thing. Not exactly like a Ashton Genty like we saw last year, but I think pretty clearly the RB1 out of this class will be a very good pro. And at number 10, this is kind of just BPA on defense. The Bengals need whatever they can get there. Caleb Downs, one of the few blue chip prospects out of this class, I think, just at a position that you never see get drafted very high at box safety. But he just is a really good instinctual guy, good leader. Really just what this Bengals defense needs to do something.
Yeah, that looks like a great mock draft. I was going to pull up a picture of what it looked like last year, and then I'll get to mine real quick, just to show the improvement that we have made as a podcast. So yeah, that's what it looked like last year.
Fire.
Yeah, dude. Way better than what we have right
I
now.
actually prefer last year's design more.
Yeah, is that so? You are a sicko. I'm just kidding.
Shout out our graphic design team, aka D Money Dawson Livingston.
Yeah. I've improved in the 1 year that I've been doing this. I won't spend too much time on mine because me and Braden have a lot of the same picks. I think the first 3 are the exact same. Or no, I guess I do have one
Jets
change.
is different.
Yeah. Mendoza to the Raiders. Funny enough, one of our most viewed videos on our YouTube channel is about the Raiders. So we're just going to keep talking about the Raiders since they have the first pick. Braden mentioned it. Mendoza is going to be really good. But we'll see if the Raiders will actually give him a chance to play good in the NFL and give him an offensive line.
Fans, apparently, with all the views we're getting on that.
Apparently, that like all the other clips that I put out there don't really get a whole lot of traction. But the one about the Raiders got a stupid amount of views.
Raiders.
For whatever reason.
We're hitting this search queue.
Yes.
We're going to become
we're getting these clicks.
But yeah, I have Mendoza going to the Raiders. I have Arvell Reese going to the Jets. Jets just need playmakers anymore, and I think Arvell Reese could be a good playmaker for Aaron Glenn in that New York Jets defense. I don't hate the pick of Carnell Tate, like Braden had in his mock. It just feels really, really high for a wide receiver in this kind of draft. But this draft doesn't have a whole lot of top end talent, so that would make some sense. But yeah, I do have Arvell Reese at the Jets. Me and Braden both have Francis Mayaga, the tackle from Miami, going to the Cardinals. Cardinals just need to give whoever their next quarterback is going to be a chance, whether they bring back Kyler, which doesn't sound like it's happening, or they draft someone later in the second round, they sign a free agent, like whoever they end up bringing in, they need to give them a chance to succeed, and drafting an offensive lineman is a necessity this early in the draft. I have David Bailey going to the Titans at number 4. David Bailey, kind of an undersized D lineman, can play on the edge, can play interior, but he's not really designed for that. He's more of an edge player. Was on that great Texas Tech defense last year that ultimately fell in the playoffs, but still a really, really good player. In Tennessee, like I said, but same thing with the Jets. They just need playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. So I have the Jets taking him. Number 5, I have the Giants taking Mansour Delane, the corner out of LSU. I like the Giants D line, and the linebacker core is okay. So I was either thinking corner or safety for this pick, but I have them going corner in this mock. Giants need to upgrade their secondary ASAP, and Delane is easily the best corner in this draft. Him or Jermon McCoy, the corner out of Tennessee, it's a discussion, but I prefer Delane going to the Giants, number 5. Me and Braden both have receivers going to Cleveland at number 6. For me, though, I have Carnell Tate being the first receiver to go to the Browns. An absolute monster, 6'4", can go up and moss anyone. Browns just need playmakers. Again, same thing with the Cardinals. Whoever's going to be at quarterback, you need to surround them with good offensive linemen and good receivers. And the Browns have a solid O-line. If they can just upgrade that receiver room, it can give, if it's Shador or whoever is going to be under center next year, give them a good chance to succeed. This is one of my favorite fits of the entire mock draft cycle so far. Caleb Downs to the Commanders. Caleb Downs, like you said, just an absolute stud at Ohio State. Positional value is kind of rough, but Commanders have a pretty okay defense, and I looked at some of the other guys on the board, like Ruben Bain. I'm like, I don't know if they really need edge rushers. And if you can draft a guy that you know is going to be like an absolute stud, we've seen this in the past. Like Kyle Hamilton was in the same class where it's like, hey, Kyle Hamilton's like probably the best player in the draft, but he's a safety. You can't take a safety super, super high, but Kyle Hamilton's kind of proving that fact that you can take a safety super high. And look at Seattle this year. Nick Eman-Wari was an absolute monster. Granted, he went in the second round, but you can make an argument in a redraft, he's probably a top 15 pick. So I don't hate the safety going this high, but I think Caleb Downs could be an absolute monster with the Commanders. I had Ruben Bain, Mr. T-Rex Arms, going to the Saints. Any Ruben Bain stock that you had of him going like 2 or 3 immediately went down the toilet when people saw how bad Will Campbell played in the Super Bowl. Arm length matters in the NFL. You don't want to get bodied every single play, aka what Will Campbell and that Patriots offensive line did. Still a really good player, but certainly going to be a huge question early into his career. Me and Braden both have Jeremiah Love going to the Chiefs. Again, this is before free agency. I would prefer the Chiefs would try to sign a running back and then draft someone else here, but this is obviously before free agency, before any signings are official. So Jeremiah Love is probably the second or third best player in this class, just off pure talent. Like Braden said, not quite to the Ashton Genty level, but any running back will be better than what the Kansas City's had the last few years. Mahomes has not ever had a 1,000-yard rusher. The Chiefs haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since 2017. So if you can get a blue chip guy running back, that can really help your offense. And then Cincinnati at number 10. I have Jermond McCoy, the corner out of Tennessee. Cincinnati just needs help on defense in that secondary especially. They've invested on the D-line in Trey Hendrickson, giving him the contract. Shamar Stewart. Oh, man, I'm really blanking on not Byron Murphy. Who's their Clemson edge rusher that I'm just completely blanking on. Braden, I know you could maybe help me. Miles Murphy. Miles Murphy is his name. They've invested on the D-line. Hasn't really worked out. Maybe they try investing in the secondary. And so I think McCoy could be a pretty good player for him. But that is my 1.0